Witness what it's like to be a non-binary pregnant person and then a parent. Hello and welcome back to I'm the Xaddy. This episode is all about the second trimester. And as I'm actually recording this, I'm in my third trimester and we are waiting to meet our baby. Which has made me look back at the second trimester in a completely different way. If you've ever been pregnant or know someone who has, you probably heard them describe the second trimester as the easy one, the honeymoon phase. The part where the sickness disappears and your energy comes back and you're glowing. And for a little while, some of those things were true. But looking back now, I don't think the second trimester was the easiest. I think it was the trimester where pregnancy stopped feeling like an idea and started feeling real. It was the trimester where our baby became somebody that we could feel, where decisions suddenly became much, much bigger, where my body changed in ways that I hadn't expected, and where I slowly realised I wasn't just growing a baby, I was becoming a parent. During this episode, there'll also be moments where I ask my wife about their experience of the second trimester too, because although only one of us was pregnant, both of us were becoming parents. Before we reached the second trimester, I honestly didn't know what to expect. The first trimester had been all survival. It was nausea, fear, and constant uncertainty. Wondering whether every symptom meant something was wrong. Wondering whether we'd actually get to meet the baby that I was growing. So I welcomed the second trimester with all the expectations everybody had given me. You'll get your energy back, you'll glow, you'll feel like yourself again. And looking back now, I think that's one of the biggest myths about pregnancy. Not because people are lying, but because every pregnancy writes its own rules. My body hadn't read the handbook. Some things got easier, other things appeared out of nowhere. And emotionally, the biggest thing that surprised me was the decrease and the increase of fear around the baby. You start to feel comfortable that they are okay, but then you immediately feel the fear as soon as you relax into it. And that push and pull is constant and exhausting, just as much as growing them. One of the biggest milestones was feeling the baby move. I'd been waiting for it. Every day I'd wonder, was that them? Or was that my stomach? It felt like it took forever. And eventually we discovered why. My placenta was sitting at the front of my uterus, which meant their movements were cushioned. They were moving, I just couldn't always feel them. But then, little by little, I started recognising them. Their tiny movements became familiar. Their familiar movements became reassuring. And without really noticing, I stopped imagining there was a baby in there, and I just knew there was. It wasn't just that the baby became real. Parenthood became real too. One of the first times I really felt them was late one evening. We were lying in bed and my wife was talking to them. Honestly, I can't remember what she was saying. But suddenly the baby kicked, or maybe swiped an arm. Whatever it was, we both felt it. And we just looked at each other and said, that's our baby. And they're really in there. And it was an amazing feeling. The other early movement was when I was sat on our couch and sneezed. And the baby jumped. And immediately I knew that it was them. But it was the strangest feeling, like otherworldly. You can feel them moving like independently of you. And you're trying to recognise which limb it is or what position they're in. It was truly, truly emotional to feel them move. To witness it and to have my wife witness it too. The reaction to me sneezing was hilarious, and I did genuinely laugh out loud. My wife talks to our baby every day. Sometimes she reads to them, and sometimes she sings to them. Generally, I talk to them and play them music. A very wide variety of music, and they even have their own playlist of things that they have reacted to. Physically, the second trimester was where my body really started to change. The headaches arrived, the acid reflux doubled down, my hips were sore, and my hands were so swollen and numb. My feet had started swelling, and my nipples had somehow become even bigger and darker and itchier all at once. Everyone kept telling me how I should have loads of energy by now, but the fatigue never really left me. And that taught me something. Pregnancy doesn't care what the internet says or what the research says or what anyone else says. Your pregnancy will be your pregnancy. The most uncomfortable physical symptom for me had to be my hands swelling up and going numb all the time. I had surgery on one of my hands not long before we started fertility treatment, and I am incredibly grateful for that. It's meant that it's mainly been my other hand that has been awful, and sometimes it's okay, and other days it never quite wakes up and stays numb, which makes it really difficult to do anything. Trimester 2 was also when we reached the 20-week scan, the anomaly scan. Before that appointment, I'd built it up in my head more than any of the other scans. Because up until that point, every scan had been about one question. Is everything okay? But this one felt different. This was where they looked at absolutely everything. Their brain, their heart, their spine, their limbs, all of their organs. And it wasn't just a chance to see our baby again. It was the chance to find out whether everything was developing as it should be. And I was terrified. Terrified that they would find something physically wrong with them. What if their heart wasn't doing what it should? What if their kidneys weren't working or something else? I was worried about having to make hard decisions for them, which, with them being so tiny, I was terrified that our baby would be ill, and I worried about how I would deal with that. Our future changed the day that we found out that I was pregnant. And this scan and the results of this scan could be the day our future was suddenly about to change again. But walking into the room, everything felt ordinary. It was exactly like every other scan we'd ever had. The lights were dim and I climbed onto the bed. Tissue was tucked into my waistband as normal, and cold gel was squeezed onto my stomach before they used the ultrasound. And then the scan began. There was something strangely comforting about how routine it all felt, like it was kind of normal. The sonographer didn't look worried, and she wasn't in a rush. She was very thorough. She just got on with the job that she'd done 100 times before. The sonographer explained that she was looking at all their organs and taking measurements and all that good stuff, and would show us the baby afterwards. My wife watched the screen pretty much without blinking. She was sat to my left, with a lap full of the random things that had come out of my pockets. The sonographer was on my right, with the machine basically next to my head, which meant that I couldn't see anything. It wasn't a quick appointment. She was incredibly thorough and even measured a few things a few times just to make sure she was happy. She even asked the baby to cooperate at one point because the baby seemed to have completely different plans. They wriggled, they turned away, they hid in awkward positions, which meant we had another technically difficult scan. By that point, I think we'd almost come to expect it. And that also meant that she couldn't get everything she needed, and we had to attend another scan a week or so later to finish the job. We left that scan giggling about our baby already being awkward, but also a little bit satisfied that she could see that everything looked good. We did leave satisfied that what she could see was all fine. But we had to, of course, wait until the next scan for her to be completely sure. That day wasn't just about checking their organs. It was the first time I realised how much I already loved someone I'd never met. I think that's what the second trimester kept doing. Every few weeks something happened that made my baby feel like it was a little bit more real. Feeling them move and seeing them on screen and beginning to imagine life after their birth. Which is probably why one question suddenly became impossible to avoid. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to
Fancy
my
seeing you
podcast.
here.
Welcome to I'm the Xaddy.
Oh, wow. Thank you for having me. I've travelled such a great distance.
Oh, such a long way.
Come from downstairs, upstairs.
I'm impressed. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So this episode, I am talking about the second trimester.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you were there.
Yes.
Through all of it.
Yes.
And mostly I wanted to just ask you a few questions to kind of see your point of view on a few things.
The first thing that I remember about the second trimester that I will say, just to kind of harp back to the first one, is the immediate drop in Jaffa cake requirements.
Yeah. There was a lot of Jaffa cakes in the first trimester.
There was.
Yeah.
The clear cut-off point where...
Don't tell the diabetes team.
This is what's caused it. So yeah, that's my strong memory.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Less trips to the supermarket.
Yeah. Can you just pick me up? Okay, so I want to start with the 20-week scan.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did you feel before we went into the 20-week scan?
Nervous, I think. A combination of nervous and excitement, because the 20-week scan is where you get to see your baby in a little bit more of a kind of, I don't know, fully formed kind of, it looks like a baby at that point. We'd obviously had scans before that, but this one was a big one for the genetic testing, and scary in that sense because you really, really hope up to that point that everything's gone okay, and they use that 20-week scan as like a benchmark of, if you can hit that milestone, then it's okay, to tell the wider world you passed this kind of like safety line. Not that nothing can go wrong, but everyone seems to aim for that 20-week scan, and then you kind of like move into the next chapter, if you like, of pregnancy. So excited, because really wanted to see them, always want to see them, but also that nervousness that comes with all the testing, making sure that everything is growing the way that it should be growing.
So what's it like for you to see your child on screen? Like, obviously you just mentioned about it feeling amazing to see them sort of grown a little bit more into an actual human. But like, let's say from like the 8-week to the 12-week to the 20-week, what is that feeling like for you to see that?
Just, there's nothing like it. It's just great. Such a validating kind of feeling as well, that you want to know all the time that they're okay, and obviously you can't see them and can't check on them until you often have these scans. So then when we have the scans and I see them on screen, it's like, okay, right, they're okay, they're there, they're doing all right. So the first feeling or wave of emotion is validation and relief a little bit, and then just a feeling of awe, and it's a miracle that the body can do that. So it's just absolutely shocking when you see it on screen and you're like, oh my god, like you made that. Um,
And I always look over at you and see your face because I'm like, oh, because like you see a lot more than I do.
yeah.
So it's always nice for me to look at you and you just genuinely beaming.
Yeah, it's great. There's a little bit of nervousness kind of going in for me because I am the opposite in terms of I don't get mummed. And it's sort of, there's always like a little bit of, it's not awkwardness because the sonographers that we've had have been incredible. They've been so lovely, but like I don't get named in any way, shape or form. So I will get acknowledged, and it'll be, who have you brought with you? And obviously, you will introduce me, or I will introduce myself. But I don't get mummed, and you get mummed.
Yeah, and I don't want to get mummed, and you do.
And I do. So that bit is interesting. And yeah, there's like, it's not an avoidance of a name for me on my side of those scans, but so far I obviously cannot speak for everybody, but so far whenever I've been into those scans, and definitely in the 20-week scan, I just don't get named. I don't get a title or anything like that, so there's a little bit of awkwardness because I'm a little bit like, oh, how am I going to be received?
So when was the first time you realised that you were going to actually become a parent?
I still haven't. Yeah.
You know they're going to be hearing.
Yes, I am aware.
In a few weeks.
No, I know. It's a really strange feeling because it's so real. And definitely that 20-week scan, just to kind of bring it back to that obviously is the point where you start telling people, and I think when you do open it up to the wider world, you do kind of go, oh wow, okay, yeah, I am going to become a parent. It's where like a lot of the unsolicited advice kicks in then. So as soon as other people know, it's when I had kids and you'll get this and you'll understand that, and some of it's great advice, some of it's amazing, some of it isn't really applicable. But I think that was a little bit of a turning point, having that scan and then telling other people about it. But yeah, still not really settled in. Yeah, I think they're going to be here and they're going to be in front of me, and I'm going to look at them and I'm going to go, this is still not real. I think they're going to be like 21 years old and like at a birthday party or something like that, and I go, yeah, it's still not real, this.
We'll have grandkids.
Yeah. But did we do that?
Yeah. There is one question that follows you everywhere once you're pregnant. Complete strangers ask it, friends ask it, family ask it, and colleagues even ask it. Even people you've only just met somehow feel entitled to know. Do you know what you're having? And every single time our answer has been exactly the same. No. We want it to be a surprise. What's fascinated me isn't actually the question itself. It's people's reaction to the answer that we give them. Some people absolutely love it. They smile and say, oh, like the good old days. Others look completely confused and almost disappointed, as though we've somehow missed out on one of pregnancy's biggest moments. It's funny how quickly the conversation changes. Suddenly people ask, how will you decorate the nursery? And how will I buy presents? And don't you want to be prepared? And all of those questions reveal something much, much bigger. The truth is, I don't even remember me and my wife sitting down and making that decision. It just felt obvious. We weren't going to find out. And I think that's because for us, finding out never really felt like discovering something about our baby. It felt like discovering something about everybody else's expectations of them. Because the moment people know whether you're having a boy or a girl, something shifts. Suddenly people stop imagining a baby and start imagining a personality. The colours change and the gifts change and comments change. People begin telling you who they think your child is before they've even arrived. And that never quite sat right with us. Gender norms have never quite sat right with us. I also think that being non-binary changes how I see all of this. I spent so much of my own life watching people make assumptions based on gender. Sometimes harmless and sometimes incredibly painful. So why would I rush to do exactly the same thing to someone we've never even met? We'd much rather meet our child before everyone else starts deciding who they think they are. It made me feel very protective over them already. Protective over who they are and aware of how performative finding out their sex really is. Don't get me wrong, this isn't about saying our way is the right way. Lots of people find out. Lots of people love gender reveals. And that's completely their choice. This was ours. For us, there's something really beautiful about knowing almost nothing. We don't know who they'll become. We don't know what they'll love. We don't know what they'll look like, what their laugh will sound like, or what their personality will be like. We don't even know whether they're a boy, a girl, or neither. And somehow that makes meeting them feel even more exciting. So, have you ever felt tempted to find out the sex of our child?
Yeah, I think I've been curious
Yeah.
about it. It's fleeting because it really, people say, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, you must have a preference.
Yeah,
I
people do always say you must want one or the other.
Yeah, oh, do you want one more than the other? And it's like, no, I really don't have a preference at all. But I have been curious because, I don't know, I suppose it's just letting your mind wander and imagining. It's funny because we've talked about it and we've kind of said, well, you know, if we what if we had a boy, but they were really into kind of like, they might be really into like all the opposite gender normed kind of stuff. And I was as a kid, like,
so was I, yeah.
You know, growing up, I hated wearing dresses.
Same.
I wouldn't wear them. I loved Lego, and I always wanted Action Men instead of Barbies.
I had a Hulk Hogan figure and a purple truck that I played with a lot.
Yeah. I loved wrestling. And I played football and hockey and all that kind of. So we've kind of talked about it in that sense of, you know, oh, what if we had this but they were into that, and what if we had this and they were into that, and played out those scenarios. But I have been curious. I never would have wanted to
find out.
No, but it's just something that's kind of gone, ooh, and I've imagined that moment of kind of going, oh, it's a but just more for knowing than anything else, because they're going to tell us who they are.
Totally.
So it's more just of a curiosity rather than anything.
Is that what you like about not knowing? That actually they will tell us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
They can kind of explore whatever they're going to explore and be whoever they're going to be.
Yep. This little stranger that is just going to figure out who they are and what they like and what they don't like, and we just get to watch and facilitate and support, and they can be, you know, whatever they wanna be, and like whatever they wanna like. And yeah, I like that not knowing, because right from the get go, right from them, you know, being in your womb, there's no pressure to be a certain way, to be a certain thing.
Yeah, everything
is kind of open to them.
And I love that too.
Yeah,
I think during the podcast I actually talk about whether we actually had a conversation about whether we were going to find out or not. Now I don't remember whether we ever did.
I don't think we did.
I'm not sure.
Do you know, I vaguely remember a conversation, and it was a really short one, as it often is with me and you, with like big stuff. It just tends to be like
the more important, the longer one tends to be, which toilet roll shall we get?
Yeah.
Rather than
But the big stuff is always really easy. But I vaguely remember a conversation of kind of going, well, I'm not really bothered about finding out. What sex they are you bothered? No. All right, that's that then.
That's probably about right. It's probably why I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Because it was so...
Yeah.
So small.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also talk about the way that people have reacted when they've sort of said, "Oh, are you finding out?" And we've kind of gone, "No, we're leaving it as a surprise." And I've sort of talked about what some people's reactions to that have been.
Yeah.
Do you remember any specific reactions to us answering that question to people?
Well, I remember that out of most of anybody who we've told, there's mainly, I would say, maybe 3, 4 people who've said, "Oh no, I needed to know." Most of everybody who we've spoken to is like, "Oh yeah, I love that, and that's the old-fashioned way." And there's a lady who lives up the road from us. I was out walking the dog the other day, and I told her, and she gasped. She was like, "Oh, brilliant! Like, that's amazing!" And "Oh, I'm so pleased for you!" And that's, "Oh, what a lovely surprise!" And she was just like really happy that it was a surprise.
Yeah.
And there's been so many people that we've told, and it tends to be the strangers actually. You know, I don't know whether I just kind of clock it a little bit more because it's a little bit more frequent.
Yeah.
But people who we've kind of told, or they've, caught us and one being out walking, and they're like, "Oh, when you're due," and all this kind of stuff. Generally, it's all really positive. It's always like, "Oh, I love that," and does it matter? It's all that matters is that they're healthy. And there's literally only been a few people that have been like, "Oh no, I really wanted to know," or curiosity got the better of me and my second child, and I really wanted to know. Or, and again, there's no shade on this at all, but some people like to be more prepared. The uncertainty is kind of too much. So I suppose probably helps them in their pregnancy or supporting their partner through pregnancy is, well, if that means that they feel less stress because they know what to expect, then amazing, do that. Like, do anything that causes you less stress. If not knowing, and especially if you do and it is important to you to do gendered stuff, again, absolutely fine, no shade, everybody does everything how they want to do things. Amazing, cool, awesome. You want to do the baby showers and the gender reveals and that kind of side of things, and have it be kind of less stress, go for it. But the reaction I've personally received, and that I've seen it when we've been together, is excitement and just kind of like, I don't know, people like buzzing that you don't know.
Yeah, I felt that too.
And so many people, and this may be presumptuous, but definitely people of the older generation, they've seemed to be more excited that it's a surprise, and also not even a flinch of, like me and my partner, there's not been a flinch of it being, not a heterosexual couple. They've just gone, "Oh my god, amazing, when's she due?" Like, and gone straight into it. They're just excited about the baby.
One thing nobody prepares you for is just how much information suddenly enters your life. Everyone has advice: friends, family, midwives, books, podcasts, and Instagram, as well as complete changes in supermarket queues. It's almost impossible to escape. At first, I wanted to consume everything, every book, every podcast, every article I could find, because I thought if I learnt enough, maybe I'd feel more prepared. But as time went on, and the more I learned, every decision suddenly felt different. Podcasts became my favourite way to learn. I loved hearing real conversations, real births, real professionals, real people asking the questions I'd been quietly wondering myself. Birth Untethered has probably been one of my favourites. I love how passionate they are and how They're not trying to tell you what to do. They're just trying to give you enough information so you can make your own decisions. I've also loved listening to Is It Normal by Jessie Ware, because it reminds me that so many questions that I've had aren't actually strange at all. They're incredibly common. As I mentioned in my last episode, I've mostly avoided pregnancy apps. Not because I don't think they're useful, but because so many still assume everyone who's pregnant is a woman. Language matters. How many times, people? Language matters. Especially when you're already trying to find your place in pregnancy. So if anyone knows of any genuinely inclusive pregnancy apps, please let me know and I would love to try them. I realised that pregnancy isn't about collecting advice. It's about learning which voices you want to listen to and eventually trusting your own inner voice. What I've learned is that information is incredibly helpful. Advice is a little bit more complicated. Almost all advice comes from love, but it also comes from someone else's experience. And their pregnancy isn't my pregnancy. And somewhere during the second semester, I realised I didn't need everyone's answers. I didn't need everyone's advice. I just needed enough information to make the right decisions for me, my wife, and our baby. What are some of the best resources that you found during pregnancy, and which are the ones that have stood out for you?
Okay, so I put a disclaimer that I like research.
Very much.
So lots of different. I've accessed lots of different resources for years now. Like, this has been ongoing for a very long time. Couple of good books, podcasts, yes. Audiobooks, yes. Instagram, mostly I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know about TikTok. But Instagram, yeah. Facebook's not great for kind of like. It probably is actually good, but I haven't accessed it in that way. But Facebook is probably good if you want to join like forums and groups and stuff. But I haven't done that side of things. Those are the main ones, and obviously just talking to other people and other parents. I think for me, it's been about corroboration and making sure that like if I see something on Instagram, I am not going to immediately accept that as gospel.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kind of go, oh, well, I've seen this thing on Instagram, so now we're going to try it. I will try and listen to a podcast about it, and I'll search for certain things. So if I've seen something, let's say it's on collecting colostrum, right, then I'll go to my podcasts and search for, I mean, honestly, if someone looked back at all my search history, they'd be like, you are so weird, because it bounces between so many different things, but what are you going to do? So I'll check podcasts, and then maybe I'll, as I'm reading one of the books, I'll kind of corroborate it, because then I kind of think, well, look, if multiple people are saying it, then I'm going to trust it more.
Definitely. I mean, and obviously we've then also done YouTube as well.
Yeah, YouTube. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, the nightly YouTube kind of.
Again, if someone saw the subscriptions, it would be feral. So what, is there a particular thing that stood out?
Not one resource that I can think of. YouTube is great. It is really good for that longer form content. I think Instagram socials is good for snapshots into things. It's good for creative ideas. Like, I've seen some fantastic Montessori stuff or homeschooling stuff or little creative builds that I kind of want to do, or seeing examples of things like floor beds and the kind of tummy time ideas and things like that. It's good for kind of like, here's an idea, which is nice, but then I struggle to keep on top of that because it's so short form and it's so quick. Even when I create collections on Instagram, I'm very rarely going back to them because they're so vast. YouTube's great for that longer form content, kind of settle in for more of a 10-minute or something on something a little bit more detailed. But I'll trust a book a bit more. Like, I think it's something like the No Guilt, positive birthing, but I should really get the proper name of that. Hold on. Okay, so the 2 books, Your No Guilt Pregnancy Plan, that's good, and the Positive Birth Book. Those quite good. I think probably out of the 2, the No Guilt Pregnancy Plan for me was better. But because it's been published, reviewed, a lot of these have gone through like 1st, 2nd, 3rd editions, especially in an age of AI and anybody putting any old crap out on the internet. I think it's nice to have something that's predates that stuff, but maybe not too long ago, but has been through multiple iterations of checking. For me personally, I like to know through multiple sources that it's being checked, and then if I do get unsolicited advice from another parent, I'll often kind of know either that's applicable to your child and your child only.
Yep.
So I'm going to take that with a little bit of a pinch of salt. Or if they do say something, it's likely that I might have read it or seen it, or I can go away and check it myself.
Do you think that birth partners get enough information?
Short answer, no. Long answer is depends on the birth partner.
Very true. So, I mean, from that comment, I'm presuming that you feel like you haven't had enough information from
the kind of the systems that be, if you like. No, you get some. We got given like a magazine which includes a page or 2 for birth partners. I think one thing from my side of things, and just to kind of bring it in line with your experience, is that there's a lot of promotion and literature happening out there at the moment around dads, and that's fantastic. It's amazing. There are support groups, and if you go on, like, well, we've been kind of given an app to check out, and there's a section in there that's for dads, and it's like the dad app, dad matters and all this kind of stuff, which is wonderful and is great and needs to happen, and there is absolutely space for that. However, it's not really inclusive for
everybody else that sits within that system.
Exactly, yeah. And it is everybody else aside from if you are a dad, you know, a father, in whichever context of that may be, whether it has been through a sperm donor and you are still the dad, or multiple different kind of iterations of what that means to that person, but there isn't any space. I wouldn't feel comfortable going to a dad group because I'm not a dad.
Yeah, well, you're not a dad.
No. And I'm a mum.
Yeah.
However, I don't fit in with the birth stuff because even though we've been to the antenatal classes, and I love them, I think they're ace. I'm fully invested. A lot of the stuff is around birth.
Yeah.
And that also doesn't apply to me. So there isn't really that extra space where the others fit in, myself included. So in that context, no, I don't think there is sufficient information yet which supports everybody, dads and birth partners included. And there's a space for that, there's a gap for that. However, that being said, if you are the type of birth partner that does want to know everything, does want to be involved, wants to be at every appointment, you can absolutely do that.
And you have.
Yeah.
You absolutely have. And I mean, I've kind of praised you multiple times throughout the podcast.
Thank you.
For just
it's on record now, you can't take it back.
For just being incredible. And it does genuinely make me sad when you don't get mummed and I get mummed and the information isn't there for you.
No.
And it's something I really want to kind of challenge, I think, moving forward.
I think one of the things that is difficult, and this is difficult for dads as well, so this problem is just a societal issue. It's not a problem with dads. So very often I will get lumped in with the very prehistoric idea of dads. So I think what's a little bit of a problem for me at the moment, and kind of going through the pregnancy, is that I'll often get lumped in with the archetypal version of like what a dad is or what a dad has been in the past. Very, very gendered expectations that's not relevant anymore. But kind of get bundled in with previous generations' expectations of what a dad or birth partner is.
Yeah, it's like the other person.
Yeah, and somehow because I'm the other person who's not pregnant, that I'm going to fall into the same gendered expectations that are very, very outdated.
Yeah.
And that's just not appropriate.
No, I mean, for other people we know as well, it's not appropriate,
Yeah.
as well as for us.
Yeah. And I think that's unfair just across the board. It's unfair for those expecting dads to be also bundled in. But it feels a little bit hurtful. Because in like my world and my brain, I am a mum and a mother, and all those things aside from maybe breastfeeding and obviously labour and giving birth, I'm going to try and do as many of the other things that I actually can do in terms of the caregiving side of things, which dads do too. And it's just strange that there's not yet this all-inclusive space.
So how would you actually challenge the way that people project gender norms onto you and me and us?
I think just any kind of projections, well, they're unsolicited. I think one way to remedy it is to just get curious about it. So instead of kind of offering that kind of, oh, well, you're gonna etc., is to just get curious, just ask a question. What's your plans then for, if one of you's breastfeeding, so what's the plan? What's your setup?
How's it going to work? Like, what does it look like for you?
Yeah. Have you got a plan?
Yeah.
Instead of kind of going, oh, you're never going to sleep again and da-da-da-da-da. Just get curious about it and be, more inquisitive. Oh, so have you thought about how you're going to deal with, like, the sleep deprivation? Or have you done anything so far to prep for the sleep deprivation? What have you done so far to prep? Just getting curious about it, because number one, that makes for a better conversation, right?
Yes.
Surely. Is to get interested. I think it opens up a lot more dialogue around parenting.
Yes.
It gives you a window if you are the type of person who maybe likes a projection, but it kind of gives you a window into it whilst balancing the conversation. So if you end up kind of saying, what have you done then to prepare for the sleep deprivation, and the other person goes, oh, we've done this and we've done that and we've got this sorted and we've got that system. You can go, oh, well, we did this and we did that, and it's like, okay, now we're creating balance.
Yeah.
Not necessarily projecting especially gendered stuff onto another person.
Yeah.
Especially if it is somebody of the opposite gender as well.
Yeah, completely.
Don't get curious about it. Like, ask some questions. And
for me, it's the best way to learn about anything. Ask people about their experience and ask how they did things. Like, have that dialogue where it's completely open and it's completely honest. It doesn't have to be, well, the man does this and the woman does this, and really pinpoint it to the point where it's uncomfortable.
And it does tend to, like, if we are in that situation where we do get that kind of gendered projection, it often shuts the conversation down, because we're like, we don't want to engage anymore in that. So it either gets challenged or we will just stop engaging. That doesn't need to happen.
No, it doesn't.
It can just be a case of, explain to me how this looks for you.
Yeah.
So then I can understand you and understand what your family's going to look like and how you guys plan to parent. it's going to change. We can say with every single will in the world, we're going to do X, Y, Z. We're not.
No.
We'll do probably a variation of it.
Yeah.
But it opens it up to kind of go, invite me into your world. Let me see what that looks like. And then I can make a judgment of the things I like versus that I don't like. And that's okay, because families all look different.
During the second trimester, pregnancy stopped being something I knew and started becoming something other people could see. The bump became more obvious, and my body felt tighter and stronger and heavier. Everything had stretched and everything had shifted. At this point, my body didn't really feel like mine anymore. Not in a bad way, just in a very different way. It had a job to do, and every week it seemed to change without asking permission. And nearly every day I had the realization that I was pregnant. Becoming visibly pregnant also made me feel unexpectedly vulnerable. One thing nobody warned me about was how some people suddenly seemed to think my body was public property. They'd reach out and touch my bump without asking. It was always meant kindly, but kindness doesn't replace consent. As a non-binary person, I'd spent years learning how I wanted to be seen. And suddenly, people saw the bump before they saw me. I didn't know whether people were looking at me because they recognised I was pregnant or because they simply thought I was overweight. Sometimes I worried about being misgendered, but mostly I realised how much pregnancy changes the way the world looks at you. Even if no one says anything, there are those little looks and more politeness, generally. And some people are very overcautious not to assume you are pregnant, which sort of feeds into that fear of looking just overweight instead of pregnant. Throughout the second trimester, there were countless moments where I suddenly stop and think, should I be worried? I hadn't felt the baby for a while. There was a strange pain down one side. Something felt different, and almost every time, Google told me it was absolutely fine. But more importantly, my wife reminded me that I was fine and they were fine. She has been incredible, such a massive source of support throughout this entire pregnancy. Just listening and reassuring me at every turn, asking questions in appointments I'd forgotten to ask myself. Because I'd never been pregnant before. I had no frame of reference. My hyper-awareness of my body became both a blessing and a curse. It helped me notice every little change, but it also meant I questioned almost every little change. And looking back now, I think that's just part of becoming a parent. You notice everything, because suddenly someone else matters even more than you do. So, was the second trimester easier than the first? In some ways. I didn't feel sick every day and I wasn't terrified every hour. But emotionally, I don't think it was easier at all. It was the trimester where every milestone carried much more weight, and every movement mattered, every appointment mattered, and every single decision that we made mattered. Because it wasn't just a pregnancy anymore. They were becoming our child, a person we will soon meet. Everyone calls the second trimester the honeymoon phase. And I don't think that's what it was. I think it was the trimester where I quietly stopped wondering whether I was pregnant and started wondering what kind of parent I was going to become. Somewhere in between the kicks and the scans and the swollen hands and the conversations in bed and all the tiny decisions that nobody tells you about, our baby stopped feeling like an idea and they become someone. Someone with hiccups, someone who refused to stay still during scans, someone who already had questionable taste in music, because apparently they react to everything from Miley Cyrus to Linkin Park. They were someone we'd never met, but somehow we already started to get to know them. And maybe that's the strangest thing about pregnancy. You fall in love with someone you've never had a conversation with, someone you've never held and never seen properly. Yet somehow by the end of the second trimester, you can't imagine your life without them. They've already changed us, and we haven't met yet. And maybe that's the real story of the second trimester. Not that it's the easiest, but it's the one where your future quietly stops being imaginary, where you witness the growing belief that at some point in the near future, you're going to give birth and bring a tiny person home with you. If you're listening to this while you're in your own second trimester, I hope it reminds you that you don't have to experience pregnancy in the way that everybody else says you should. Your pregnancy will be your pregnancy. And whatever this trimester looks like for you, I hope you find moments that make it feel real. If you would like to share your story with me, then please do at getinTouch@I'mTheXaddy.com or DM me on Instagram at I'mTheXaddy.pod. Thank you for listening. Speak to you next time. Peace.
How are you planning for sleep deprivation?
Oh, I haven't had caffeine in quite some time, so it's probably going to be caffeine. How about you? How are you going to deal with it?
God. Winging a prayer, I think.